Hello, hello. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I'm Natalie Baugh, and you're listening to It's All Light. Today, our special guests are none other than my parents, Brent and Rochelle Baugh. Say hello.
Hello.
So I was thinking about what I wanted to do for the Valentine's Day episode, as well as just all of February. I wanted a focus of love in the episodes, and it goes well with just loving your passions and what you light up about. So today I wanted to just ask my parents a few fun questions that can help you understand your relationships better and how to build a good relationship, because they're a great example to me in my life, as well as just a fun episode to get to know my family. So first, Brent and Rochelle Baugh, Mom and Dad, tell us about yourselves. What are things that you light up about?
What do I light up about? So you've been doing this podcast talking about it for about a year now, right? So I should have had plenty of time to think about it. But at the last minute on the spot, I think I light up about music, particularly Broadway musicals.
Oh, yeah.
I heard your producer talk about Nutella, and you bet I do light up about that, especially Nutella with bananas on Ritz crackers.
Or on toast, yeah. Yum.
My mom, not on toast.
Oh, well,
but I like.
Yeah, growing up, my mom would make me. I would be watching Dragon Tales before kindergarten, and she'd come downstairs with toast, and it had half peanut butter and half Nutella. And man, I had it good. My mom would make me food and just bring it to me like a little princess. Fun fact about my mom.
I think my love of Nutella actually spurs from my love of Germany and all things German.
Mm-hmm. That's where she served her mission when she was a young girl.
The German language, I light up.
And World Cup soccer.
And World Cup soccer, for
Olympics.
sure.
The Olympics. Yeah. Okay, Dad, your turn.
What lights me up?
No, what do you light up? What are you passionate about?
I am passionate about Mom. I'm passionate about the outdoors, camping, hiking. I like to run. I like tennis. I like basketball. I like history. I like pizza.
You like a lot of things.
I like a lot.
He is what you call a Renaissance man. He does it all. He's a dentist. He paints. He hunts. He shoots guns. He does all of the above. If anyone's interested, we can do a live tour of his man cave that I love. It's so cool, and it's very, very Brent Baugh. Yeah, so he has worked as a dentist his whole life, well, after dental school. And then my mom has done teaching and accounting, and she fills her time with lots of really good things. And she was mainly a mom. So there's a little bit about my parents, both born and raised in Utah, in Murray. They grew up in the same state. So now the first question, how did you two meet? Well, I guess, how long have you been married?
Almost 31 years.
Almost 31 years. Nice.
Yep.
And how did you guys meet?
My dad was Rochelle's ward's high counselor.
Mm-hmm.
And for a year and a half, he kept coming home and telling me I should take out this girl that I'd never seen before. And so later, the singles ward had a trip to Lake Powell, and we both met there and started dating for 4 months until Rochelle went on her mission. And then in that time while she was on her mission, my friend Chris got to know Rochelle's sister through me, and they got married. And when Rochelle got home from her mission, I had kind of decided I'd be off to dental school, which I did go, 2 weeks after you got home? And
across the states, right?
Let me tell this
you should tell that part, yeah.
Well, when we said who gets to talk first, he said his story's more fun. And his story's accurate. But when we met, I had not been going to the singles ward. So when I heard about this Lake Powell trip with the young adults, I grabbed a bunch of guys in my ward that had just come home from their mission.
This was before your mission, Mom, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when we went, it was fun, but it wasn't until the last day being at Lake Powell, all of a sudden I just decided I would love to go on a date with Brent Baugh. And I came home and I was
And why?
like,
Wait, let's pause. What about him stood out to you?
good question. I don't know. He had been kind of in charge of that trip, so maybe he was kind of organized. He liked to have fun. I don't know.
What? I was handsome, looked good in a swimsuit. What?
That might have been what you noticed. Remember, girls' brains are different than boys' brains. I don't know. It was fun. I remember driving home. My friends and I were in one car, and he and his friends were in another car, and we detoured to Goblin Valley, and he was fun. He had a fun laugh. Probably just he was fun. That's what caught me initially, right?
And then Dad, besides Mom and her cute swimsuit, what stood out to you?
So she was appealing that way, right, physically, and she seemed to have a good testimony, wanted to go on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
Had good character that way. I mean, that's initially, right?
So you dated so you said you wanted to go on a date with him, and then Dad, you asked Mom out when you got home
Yep.
from Lake Powell. And then from there you dated for about 4 months, right?
Correct.
And that was when Mom was working on her mission papers and getting ready to go on her mission.
Right.
And Mom, you were 21 at the time though, or 20.
I was 20.
And
yeah,
my dad was 24.
yeah,
About ish. Okay,
Yep.
so keep going.
So I had always wanted to go on a mission. And so I think in my brain, nothing was going to stop me from going on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I did not, now I can look back at our relationship those 4 months before my mission and realized, oh, we were really dating.
Mm.
But it wasn't ever something that I knew that we were dating. I never would have called him my boyfriend at the time. I also had previously dated somebody who happened to be on a mission at the time, where we had communicated a lot. We had talked about everything. Brent and I didn't really talk. We just had a fun time. We just had a fun time doing things. But I look back, I'm like, we went out, we had dates every weekend, a couple nights
A week.
I would watch him go play basketball.
Nice.
I started going to the young adult ward. So we hung out a lot.
Did you hold hands
then-
and like kiss and cuddle too?
We did hold hands. It took quite a while before he kissed me. But you know what? This
I
is
didn't
funny.
kiss a lot of girls.
So both of our moms had served in state young women's together, but I was out of the house by that time. So I actually said something to my mom, like, I don't know if he even likes me. I mean, you didn't hold my hand for a long time.
Like 3 weeks in, right? He didn't hold your hand.
No, well, like a month.
That's about 3
We were
weeks.
going out all the time. So I said something to my mom, like, I don't know if he even likes me, aside from the fact he keeps asking me out. And
That's
then
a good sign. Sometimes
I think-
girls can't even get that, which is hard.
I think my mom might have said something to his mom. And then, like, the next thing I know, he starts holding my hand. And then there's a kiss. And anyway, so I get my mission call. I kind of wondered if our relationship slowed down just a little bit when I got my mission call.
Yeah, because my dad's like, well, I guess she's going. Right, Dad?
Well, he
Right.
knew I was all the time.
Yeah.
And but right before we had a date, right before I was to be set apart, we went and played racquetball together. And I remember driving in the car, and I said to him, "So, are you going to write me?" And he looked at me, gave me an odd look, and didn't say anything.
Oh,
Have you
no.
ever had that?
I don't remember that.
So
no.
when we've had this conversation years after we were married, and he said he didn't say anything because he thought it was a dumb question, because he thought, of course, he was going
Oh,
to
yeah.
write me.
You've told
But
me this
guess what?
before, yeah.
He wrote me. I wrote him twice. He wrote me once. He did not write for 18 months. So
Amazing.
when I find out my sister's dating his best friend, and then they get engaged, I thought, oh, okay, I guess I'll see Brent Baugh again.
Right, and so then
So-
you came home from your
So we
mission.
came home. I'd been home a couple days. It was a couple days before the wedding. Soon to be brother-in-law says, "Come on over. Come see the bridal shower gifts we've got." So I said, "Okay." I go over there. We're in the basement, my sister and I talking, and Chris comes down and says, "Oh, Brent's on his way over." And instantly I was like, I was scared to
A
death.
new little RM.
Yeah, I'd been home like 3-4 days. I was freaked out.
And you're like, I've heard from this guy once.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like,
And-
but you had really liked him. Like you had dated before your mission. Like he was the last guy before your mission that you dated.
Well, I didn't
Yeah.
know what was going to happen at all. I
But that's right. That's correct.
that's
Right.
true. Yeah.
And
but I really wasn't expecting much. I didn't know what to
and you
expect.
hadn't said I love you at all during those 4 months.
Oh,
You
no.
were just dating, having fun.
No.
It was more casual.
We're still working on that.
Oh, funny. Okay,
Yeah,
so
serious.
so
Yeah.
you see Brent, you see Dad at Kim and Chris's, and right before they got married, just to see all their wedding gifts, and then keep going.
So from the time they got married, I mean, for a week before he was moving away to Omaha for dental school, we probably saw each other every day.
A lot. Yeah.
And but
So
still
that
didn't
night you
talk
saw
about-
each other, you were kind of nervous. Dad, you knew she was going to be there?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
You didn't.
I think Kim and Chris, it was a sneaky ploy.
Uh-huh.
so
Get us
yeah,
That
there.
worked.
my dad and his
And it worked
best
out.
friend married sisters, and so now they're best
Yeah,
friends and
been fun.
brothers. So fun. Okay, so then when you
So-
saw her, Dad, were you excited? What did you feel? Like, did you have other
don't
girls you were
remember.
dating at a time?
I
Yeah.
did. I did.
And then did you kind of just slowly drop them and just start seeing Mom?
Yeah. A little bit before going to dental school.
But it was just a time
And
frame
then
of a
it-
week, 1 week.
Then, yeah, we would talk on the phone from dental school, but back then you didn't have cell phones.
Right.
And it was really expensive to call long distance. So we'd talk like once a week.
And you're
Sunday
And then it
about
just happened.
26
Mom-
at the time, right, Dad? And Mom, now you're 23 or
I'm
22.
26.
You're 22
I
and
was-
he's about 25, 26 at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you talk on the phone.
So and then Mom just happened to come out and drive through Nebraska on her way to
New
New
York.
Back
with
east to
with
visit
some of her
relatives.
family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at that point, it had progressed enough that when she came through,
Via the phone
so
calls.
came through, yeah, via the phone calls, long distance. They came through on their way to New York, and on the way back, they stayed at my place.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that time, we talked about marriage,
Wow. That's
little
kind
bit.
of fast.
and then got engaged in December and married in June. And when I came back for the summer from dental school,
So 10 months after I'd been home from my mission. So
That's when you got married.
a lot of it was
but
really
a lot of that was long distance. Mom, Rochelle came out during spring break.
Thanksgiving.
Um,
And then we got Thanksgiving.
yeah. Well, to visit. Anyway,
And you got engaged at my dad's family Christmas party, playing
in
the
December.
the
when I
gift
was home for a
the
little bit.
gift game where you had the last number to choose the final gift, and it was
white
The
elephant.
white
game.
elephant game. Yeah.
And someone else had gotten the gift, and my mom recognized it was the ring because they had ring shopped together. And then my dad
Yep.
proposed. Dad, do you remember?
really.
Do you remember what you said when you proposed?
I'd rather not say.
Oh, well, the official proposal? The official proposal, or when we first talked about
When you
marriage?
first
When we
talked
first
about
talked
it,
about
that's
it.
pretty funny too.
Yeah. No. Let's go. Let's move on.
No, you can,
No.
you can share it
Mom-
on
I
social
don't need
media.
this on all over the
Mom
world.
can share. It's not. It's. I don't think it's bad. Mom, go ahead. Now,
Well,
now our listeners
There's
are
a story,
curious.
though. So my sister and I and Brent were sleeping in sleeping bags in his living room floor. My
Well, your parents are in
parents
my room.
were in his bedroom on the bed because we had to get up early to road trip. And so I knew my sister was probably awake,
A fake
but
sleeping.
we had no other alternative.
We need
We
to
were
talk.
leaving. We
Yeah.
needed to talk. And I had given Brent the opportunity to talk in the car. We had to go get gas. He chose not to
Well,
talk.
and why
so
did you
we were
why did you feel
talking.
the need to talk? Just because you had been talking on the phone so much and were falling in love? Had you said I love you
Well,
over the
no,
phone?
We're in
because his
person.
friends,
in person.
his friends were saying things. His family was saying things. People were saying things about us, but we weren't saying anything about us.
And did you call
So
yourselves
it was kind of
dating each
tough.
other, or were you still seeing other people?
No,
Well, I was
I
in dental
was-
school.
I
was
was
seeing
so
kind of-
interesting.
dental school.
I was kind of seeing.
Other guys.
Well, not
Hmm.
seriously, but
Your focus was on Brent.
anyway. So yeah. So then Brent and I started talking, and he just said, "The way I see it, we could get married."
I think that's awesome, Dad. I don't think you have anything to be embarrassed about with that. The way I see it, we could get married. It's a good, like,
Not
two good
terribly
things.
romantic, is it?
When did you say I love you? Hopefully you said it before then.
No, probably about that night.
Did I say that
Wait,
night
oh my
even?
gosh.
I think I brought it up. I think I brought it up and
My
said,
mom was like, "Does this man love me?"
usually,
Love happens your whole marriage, your whole
yeah.
life.
But yes,
It's
it needs
just
to
the
be,
beginning.
any marriage before should be grounded on love. I think the feelings are there. It was hard for Dad to verbalize, and
Still is.
probably for me too. So it was part of that conversation.
So what does love mean to you guys?
What's it mean?
What
I
is
think it
love,
means
love,
putting
love?
putting the other person first.
Well, I think you get as close to charity. It's so love between a husband and wife is going to be different than love for a friend or other people, siblings, whatever, right? You have
Yeah.
a covenant that you make together. It's different. And so, yeah, you both try to make the best of every situation and work through all the challenges and have fun together, all that.
Your go-to person.
Yep.
And what else does love mean to you, Dad?
What else? That you focus on that person. So we talked at the very start, you had us talk about things that bring light to us. And so part of love is Mom likes Broadway. So I'm okay going to one once in a blue moon, but because I love her, I will go with her to a lot of
Wait,
shows
but now
that I wouldn't normally go.
enjoy it though.
But maybe
Yeah, but
more
not
so.
not as much as
More so because of me.
But also, if I like to go up in the mountains, go turkey hunting, Mom's like, "Hey, I'll come with you." And not that she really wants to be there, but she comes along to be together. And so part of that love is we both allow each other to explore our things that we like and enjoy. I've seen some relationships where the other person doesn't allow their spouse to do things they love to do, and that's not healthy.
Right.
I remember reading in a book years ago by a doctor who said the best relationships are two individuals who would do just fine on their own but choose to be together, and one spouse isn't like a leech to the other spouse and controlling.
No codependency.
There's no codependency. So that's the best situation, that you both would be fine on your own, but you choose to be together because it's greater. The sum of both parts are greater.
So what was important to you when you were seeking to find a spouse? And then what has continued to be important, as well as like what are realistic expectations you can have with your spouse or with someone you hope to be your spouse? So I think a lot of people have ideas of what they want, and maybe some things matter less. So first question, what was important for you to find in a spouse?
Well, like I said earlier, religion, both of us having testimonies, both of us. So physical attraction, I was attracted to her physically. So mentally, we enjoyed talking together and being together. Similarities, we like certain things the same. But
both grew up in similar backgrounds, loved the outdoors.
And both of us, I think you could tell early on that we'd both be committed. I think some relationships, sometimes one person isn't as committed to make it work when things get hard.
Right.
I don't know.
I think a lot of, I second everything that Dad said, but I think we also both realized through each year of marriage and beyond how lucky we were in that we had so many things in common that we maybe didn't recognize that we did at first either. A lot of it, looking back, we're like, I didn't know that about you, but it sure has worked out well. That, enjoying the mountains. I mean, he knew I liked camping or whatever. He knew I enjoyed hiking, running, I don't know, different things that we've enjoyed together that we didn't necessarily do together before we were married. And, even similar tastes in music that, we didn't know we had that, but, and again, it's growing together too. So maybe it was just growing together that became the similarities besides.
We learned to enjoy country music while living in Nebraska together.
I feel like
wasn't a thing here in Salt Lake.
I feel like I grew up with country though with you too.
right?
Yeah,
But
but I
really,
didn't start till we got married and lived in Nebraska. Really.
Nebraska
Wow.
didn't have anything but
Country music and corn.
at the time. At the time.
So the second part of that question was, what are realistic expectations to have when looking for a spouse?
Realistic expectations.
Well, somebody that makes you feel good, somebody that is willing to communicate with you,
Mm-hmm.
someone.
Well, what matters to you? I think that question is different to each person.
That's true, yeah.
I know some women love to have a guy that is super funny and just quick on his toes. Some people, this is what mom wished I had, but they can play the guitar and sing to him. I mean, there's so many different things that each person desires. So expectations that depend on the person.
Mm-hmm. Mom, how have you dealt with that fantasy in your head of having a guy who could sing and play the guitar and not having that fantasy realized? How did you
good
deal with
question.
that? because
It
like,
probably wasn't
like we're
it was
talking
never-
about, it's not important enough to be a factor, but it's still just like a fantasy in your head, right?
Well, I enjoyed singing, right? And so of course I thought it'd be fun if I had a guy that enjoyed singing, whether with me or I don't know what. There was another thing too. Oh, like musical. Like I love to sit and listen to people play the piano. I mean, I play the piano a little, and man, if I had a guy that could play the piano, that'd be really cool. But
It's not a game changer though.
It wasn't.
Exactly. So you
The-
kind
I
the
guess-
most important things again, in our situation would be religion, I think.
Well, I think loving the Lord. I think that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other things were secondary.
yeah,
So,
I love that. Your preferences, your requirements, and your deal breakers.
yeah, I do look back though, and I think, I look at someone in a past relationship, someone I had dated,
Uh-huh.
and he's a great guy, and there's no question I loved him, but I also look at my life now with Brent, and
Mm-hmm.
my life's probably more relaxed, or maybe I'm not as uptight as I might have been had I married that other guy.
No, it's true. So
Dad's a good balance for me.
So, I had two questions. The first one's kind of like a follow up with what we're talking about. Do you feel like, did you ever question what
Whether we should marry?
No, well, yeah. Did you have any hesitancies? That's a good
Of
question.
course, I think. Yeah.
But once we talk marriage,
Yeah. You always do. Yeah.
Mhm.
The whole thing, you kind of wonder, and there's other people, and you could have pursued or gone forward with.
So how did
Yeah,
you
once you got to that
I
point,
say
how did you get
What-
over that though? Because I feel like so many people in my generation struggle with hesitancies because oh, what if this isn't the person for me, or what if this isn't the person I want to choose for the rest of forever?
I think I've heard this,
Mhm.
and like some people say that there's several people out there that you could have married and been fine, right?
Right.
And then after you
But who wants to
decide,
be
and
fine?
it's commitment. It's the commitment though after.
I think once we said we were going to get married,
That was it.
that
Yeah.
that we didn't question,
Yeah.
and especially
And then
once
there's no one else.
of course then when we got engaged, and then of course when we got married,
Mhm.
it was never a question, because we had made that commitment and that covenant.
Yeah.
But
and-
it's different with everybody,
And
right?
whether someone gets married in the temple or not, it's still a covenant. The marriage
Mhm.
is a covenant.
Or contract.
I
Contract.
remember you telling me too, Mom, when you guys were talking about marriage, that you knew you would be making your temple covenants and make those promises to each other, but you also talked to Dad and said no matter whatever hardships come, we promise we're gonna just stick it through, no matter how hard it would get. And I mean you're still together.
don't
You've worked through anything that life's thrown at you, but I don't know. You told me that once.
I don't remember verbalizing that with Dad ever, but I
Oh.
think both of us had that expectation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which, again, I think we probably lucked out in that.
Yeah.
Like-
Where I've heard arranged marriages do better than our marriages, that we get to choose our own spouse,
Uh-huh.
because I think they're arranged and the couple knows that's how it is, and they make it happen because that's how
And
their
they
culture.
make it work. And they can love each other too, right? And grow that love.
You
You
grow
grow
to
to love
love
somebody.
someone.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can.
The love we had when we got married is so different than the love we have now.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Let's
For
talk
sure.
about that. I had another question, but I forgot it. So let's talk about that. How is the love different, Mom?
Well, it's more, I don't know, there's just a greater understanding. And even if Dad bugs me, even if he's on my nerves, whatever, I still love him.
Never. Even
And
when
And
Mom's
vice
snoring,
versa?
I'm fine.
I mean, yeah, I mean, even there might be times that I turn my back to him in bed because I'm frustrated with him, but
You do?
by the time the morning comes around, we've
Yeah, you know how people
calmed
always
down.
at weddings they always
Yeah.
say never go to bed angry.
Mm-hmm.
We find it the opposite. If you go to bed angry because you're just tired, you wake
It
up and
won't
everything's
matter.
good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think it goes both ways, depending on the extremity of what's being bugged, right?
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
and
But sometimes it could just be you're tired.
you talk about how love is different now than
Mm-hmm.
it was when we first got married. I mean, we brought children into the world and all their lives and the things we've done together, careers and schooling and life and ups and downs and dealing with aging parents or whatever.
Yeah.
We haven't had huge hardships, but
Mm-hmm. We're very blessed.
gratefully
grown
we've
together.
been
Yeah.
together through ups and downs.
Yep.
And you guys didn't mention this, but I'm assuming, like, besides religion, you had similar views on money, maybe, and how you wanted to raise
No.
your family.
Mom wants to save money. I want to spend money. We do.
Okay,
the
maybe not.
opposite of that.
No, in fact, when a week before we were getting married, so we'd been long distance, right? But like
Came home in May. Got
four
married
four
June
weeks
10th.
before we got married, he was on his school break, and about a week before we were getting married, he invited me over to show me his finances, which meant his student loans
For dental
dental
school.
school.
for dental
4
school.
years
So
of
he
dental
was
school.
in a professional program, and it wasn't cheap. And I had never had, my parents were helping a little bit with college, and I was working to pay for college, and I didn't have loan. I didn't have a car. I shared with my sisters and bummed rides from friends. And anyway, so I didn't have loans, and I literally was sick to my stomach when he showed me that. However, I was very, very appreciative. He showed me that before we got married.
Yeah, that's
And
important.
so he was open about that. And
A
yeah.
week before is all though.
So that in my head, we call hard conversations. Were there other hard conversations that you found helpful, or even in the first few years of marriage, to help grow your love and remain committed for 31 years? What has helped?
Hard conversations? I don't think so.
Like talking about your feelings or expressing frustrations, or
Mom expresses them, and I do whatever she says, and we're good.
Right.
no.
Right. Having conversation. I mean, sometimes
Just communicating.
I'll tell Dad, we need to talk. We need to, and he'll like, oh no, what?
Treat that like, I will say.
And sometimes he didn't want to talk, and I'd have to learn how to back off. I'm still learning that, but he's also still learning. Sometimes we need to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Communication's important in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are better at it than others, and I'm not good at it.
Well, and we communicate different ways. Some of us
Right.
communicate more verbally, and some of us communicate more with action or physical contact, or
Gifts,
things
whatever.
like that. I mean, even though I don't think we ever really verbalized it, but we always kind of tried to go to bed at the same time, even though somebody was studying or working or doing things. We kind of communicated that we were going to bed, and we tried to have that time together.
Mm-hmm. You'd pray together and try to read your scriptures together and go to the temple once a month together, right?
Going to the temple was a huge thing that worked for us. Once a month, we were part of a sealing group for
18 years.
about 18 years.
Wow, that's
and
awesome.
That was awesome because we had a commitment
Mm-hmm.
with other people
Mm-hmm.
we use our excuses.
And that reminded you of the marriage covenant you
Oh yeah, once a month, generally. Yeah.
you created
Yeah.
together.
I mean, there have
Great.
been times. I mean, life, we are always trying to prepare or progress
Mm-hmm.
and do better.
Right.
And sometimes we did better than others in what we did as a couple. Whether it was, I remember one year for Christmas, I think we had 2 little kids, and for Christmas, Dad wrote up a card and said, "You get a babysitter once a week, and I'll plan the date." And that was kind of reaffirming our goal to go on dates and
Mm-hmm.
to strengthen our relationship as a couple.
Yeah.
We've often said, we still find it really is strengthening to get away from our house, to have a night out or a weekend away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had a goal to go on an overnighter, could be up the canyon camping in a tent, but do that 4 times a year. And 4 times a year doesn't sound like that much, and it's a lot.
And we didn't do it.
And we
that
didn't
often.
even make
Never.
it that way. But we went on a couple. We've been to Hawaii 3 times, every time without our kids. Sorry, Nat. But those are good things in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember you go do your canyoneering couples trip that not only had the adventure, but would incorporate writing letters to each other and getting to know each other because
Oh yeah. Yep.
because
That was a good trip.
change is inevitable in people.
Yep.
And
That was good too, because it forced Dad to write a letter. all the guys. I mean, the group leader, a friend of ours, luckily he had the foresight to do that, and it was cute.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't come naturally to Dad to write a letter, right?
Yeah. I mean, we all
obviously.
show our love differently and receive love differently, which I'm trying to read the Love Languages book that talks about how important it is to understand all of the languages so you can clearly communicate love to others. So what do you love about each other?
He's still fun. I still want to spend time with him. I mean,
Her eyes.
I think I still have the dream that he'll enjoy going grocery shopping with me. However,
I did last night. I did good.
he did, and yeah, sometimes marriage, when the marriage involves a family, it is a divide and conquer. A lot of dividing and conquering, but it's nice to, when you have time together, to do even just the little things.
Well, and now it's just you two. All your kids are gone. It's just you two.
That doesn't mean we don't do things for and with our kids, though. That doesn't mean our time isn't taken by other things other than our own wishes and desires.
Yeah.
What else? Keep going. What do you love about each other?
What do you like to do together? Or love about that?
Well,
we like to go travel together.
we like to do things
We
together.
like to camp. We like to go up in the mountains and run or hike. Or he'll fish. I used to fish, but now I just take a book. I enjoy it better. But I can be out there and enjoy that.
Still support our kids, even though they're mostly gone out of the house.
Very supportive parents.
All those things.
What do you love about Mom, Dad?
Her eyes, her face, her testimony, love of music. She loves me.
And when you're together, do you feel
smart.
Oh, yeah, keep going. I didn't want to interrupt.
No, she's smart.
Was ambition and drive a thing you remember learning about each other when you were first dating and getting married?
I don't think so.
Not necessarily. I mean, I was in college and he was, working on his career goals.
So you were both moving in those directions that you wanted to support each other in?
Yeah, it's just what was going on. It wasn't
kind of the stage of life.
Stage of life, yeah.
Yeah. So when you spend time together doing these fun things, hiking, biking, why do you think that brings you two closer together? How does that help your relationship?
I think anytime you're doing things together, that's a good thing.
Because you're talking and
you
engaging?
So I said earlier, it's good that you might have I might want to go fishing, But if I'm always gone away from mom, that's not healthy for
Right.
your marriage.
Right. And like you
But at
said,
the same time, sometimes you need those times where you're apart. But if you have things like go up the canyon here and go for a run, or for a mountain bike ride, or whatever it is, when you're together, that's going to strengthen your relationship, and you get to do something fun. And it's not all the fun stuff. There's other things you do together, working in the yard, cleaning the garage, whatever. Anytime you can be together is a good thing.
You're going to let me help clean the garage?
Nope.
He wants to just take everything and dump it. And I'm like, let's wait. We got to go through it.
Yep. I wonder if people are getting where I come from talking to you too, because there's bits and pieces of me in both, or bits of pieces of you, both of you in me. Okay, I have two last questions. One, what helps your relationship when times are tough?
Going to sleep.
Prayer.
And
going to sleep.
Yeah.
Just sticking to it. Just sticking to the basics.
Yeah.
Plugging along. Like today, even we were talking about different things. I wasn't super stressed, but there were different things going on, and I was pretty tired. There was a lot of my mind, and he just said, "Why don't you go take a nap for half an hour?" And that was helpful. Not that I need permission to do that, but he gave me permission. He reminded me that might be good for me.
Do you feel like your strengths and weaknesses balance each other out?
Definitely.
How so?
Mom's a red-blue personality. I'm a white-yellow.
So
and
logically 100% balanced.
If we were both yellow-white or just yellow, we'd be in trouble. If we were both reds, we would. I mean, I'm assuming people out there would understand the color code.
Yeah. I mean, the basics. You can Google it.
If we were both red, it would be okay, but you would have more clashing and more fights because you'd both be so stubborn.
Yeah.
So I think personality-wise, we yin and yang. We complement each other.
Yeah. Do you feel like, Mom, you go to Dad to help you learn new things and become better at things, and Dad, do you feel the same way? Like that's part of your relationship?
No.
It's part of your personality, I think, that if you want to get better at something, and then you help each other. I don't think we go to each other I go to Mom to help me with things that she's better at.
Like writing.
Yeah.
Like Mom does the same thing with me. So
I'm taking a Spanish class, right? So I do try to have Dad help me with that.
My dad served in Venezuela. I know we talked about my mom, but yeah, my dad speaks Spanish. And they have 4 lovely children. I'm the second daughter. There's an older daughter, a younger brother, and a nephew, and a brother-in-law. Son-in-law for you guys. I forgot to say that at the beginning. All right, we're wrapping up. So think about this whole episode. What's your uplifting takeaway for all the people listening? What do you think is important for people to know about love and relationships?
Just be realistic. It's not like you see on TV. It's not like in the movies. It's usually not falling in love and knowing instantly this is the person for you.
Love happens over time.
Yeah.
It's better and better.
I mean, it's nice to set your priorities, but there's only a few basic things that really, really matter.
So what matters most?
Loving the Lord.
Yeah. I love that. I'm so grateful for you two, and I love you lots. And I'll get emotional if I keep talking, so we're going to end the episode. Happy Valentine's Day,
Natalie.
everyone. And spread the love and be passionate. Bye.